welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why do we do this on a Friday night, ladies and gentlemen? Because Friday night is horror night. But as you can see, we have a guest here who isn't the Dynamo. It isn't Ted. It isn't Carl. He has a bit bigger of a head than we last seen him on screen. This is actor Joseph David Payne. How are you, sir?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Couldn't not do it when the opportunity arose. Um, and as for the reference of having a bigger head, I didn't mean that in any offensive way, but from your major role that you had in one of the biggest movies of the year last year, it was only a small movie called Beetlejuice, where you played one of the shrinkers.
Yes,
So that's where that came from.
I understand. To think that that was last year already. It's 2025.
Well, it's not even last year. It was a couple of days ago. um, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the acting world?
Yeah, so I actually grew up as a dancer. So since I was probably around 5 years old, I've been dancing my whole life. And maybe around age 15 or 16, I was like, I want to perform for a career. So then I started looking at what my options could be to do that. And I ended up um between 16 and 18, I studied a BTEC in dance. And then I just took the traditional route and went to drama school for my degree. And I studied musical theatre, which was great. Um, so I sing, dance, act, all of that. And then in my third year at drama school, um, I had the opportunity to audition for a theatre show called In the Night Garden Live, which you may or may not know. So it's based off of a
The
children's
show.
TV show here in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
So I auditioned for that and I ended up booking the job. And that was my first audition out of drama school. And then I left a few months early from drama school. And then I toured with that show for about 7 months. And in that show, I was playing a role that was in an animatronic suit. Um, from there, I then did a few other bits. And then a year later, we were on set on Beetlejuice.
Like that's crazy to go from a theater show to what was probably one of the most anticipated movies of the year.
Yeah, I think so. Do
Now, in my opinion, it was a sequel that wasn't needed, but everybody wanted.
you know what? I completely agree. And I think we can all agree that it wouldn't have happened unless Tim was very happy with the story.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was all down to him. Like that was it. It didn't matter if Keaton had come out and said, "I want to do it," or if every other actor and actress that was involved in the first one came back and said, "We want to do it." Uh, Nothing that man does won't happen without him going, "Yeah,
Absolutely. And I think all of them would need to agree on it for it to come to fruition. And obviously, you've got the fabulous writers who would have worked alongside Tim. And I can imagine this was in the works for decades. Well, it was, wasn't it?
well, yeah, it was what 30 years, was it 35 years?
Yeah, maybe
19,
36 years or something like that.
yeah, 1984. I gone off Beetlejuice, maybe something like that.
Way before I was born. That's all I know.
It was before I was born as well, mind you, but I still love the original one.
Yes. I think it's a wonderful film, and I love the use of practical effects. That's always something that I've loved
Has
ever
to be.
since I was a kid. So
It's
obviously,
practical. Yeah, we're the same. And me and the three lads, it's practical all the way for us if we had the choice.
absolutely. Obviously, you do need a little bit of digital to take things out here and there because
100%.
I think if you can get the balance between the two, perfect.
But the problem is, like we say it on many of the shows in the back catalogue, if you went back and listened, we say it like there's problem is films are just being churned out now with full CGI. No creative market just going, there you go, have that.
Yeah, I do agree. I think when Star Wars Force Awakens came out, actually, that
Shit.
brought a new light to the creature effects, and particularly because that was Neil Scanlon's creature studio, who also were the ones that did Beetlejuice. They're bringing creatures back into the world, and that makes me really happy and excited.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that new Star Wars trilogy. Um, but I did think that some of the creatures in it, especially Snook in, is it the third one that he comes into? He looked pretty awesome.
Hmm.
And like credit where it's due when you see people creating those kind of things. It's just off the charts. Like obviously you go back to the legends, the likes of Tom Savini and stuff when they done theirs. Um, but yeah, when it's not CGI, it always looks better.
Yeah, I think it can be really great.
Absolutely. And I will say, like for Beetlejuice, as I said, I wasn't a sequel that I wanted. Did I want to see it when I heard it was coming? Absolutely. But I was just like, there's some of those films now, like Top Gun came out with one where it was a sequel 35 years later that no one wanted, or not no one wanted, but wasn't needed, but was awesome. So when they're done right, but sometimes they're just there and you're like, oh, okay.
But I don't believe this film was made to. Obviously, it was going to be a box office hit, but I don't think it was made to make loads of money. I think this was made as a piece of art for Tim and Michael.
Oh, absolutely. This seemed to be the thing that everyone wanted. People have asked Keaton for years about going back to do Beetlejuice and Tim Burton as well. I'm say they were sick of hearing it as well. Like I'd say for them, this was a little tip of the cap to say, well, this is it now.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I wasn't huge on the movie. I,
Okay.
I thought there was a bit of too much going on and whatnot. Some of the effects in it were brilliant though.
Do
Uh,
you think that's potentially because you're a huge lover of the first film?
so for me, I found Keaton's performance to be very flat in this one. It wasn't as zany or as wacky as the first one. I know maybe that's just because that's the way I was thinking it was gonna be, and
Okay.
I'd probably have to sit and watch it again.
Mm,
But I thought he was flat. I thought there was a bit too much going on. Obviously, with Katrina O'Hara's character having lost the husband, and for reasons that everyone knows that I won't get into here, wasn't back in this one. Um, well, kind of wasn't back, but was back. And then you had Jenna Ortega's love story, and I was like, and then her battle with her man. I was like, there's just too many side stories going on here.
I I I quite enjoyed having a lot to think about actually, and I think particularly potentially for the younger audiences who
Can't.
fi- find it a bit more difficult to keep engaged with things. There's a lot to think about, which is great for us. And obviously, the addition of Jenna Ortega was obviously going to bring in
Well,
the younger audience, which is wonderful.
there's your superstar.
Yeah,
Like as much as superstar as Keaton was, and probably some people would still see what Jenna Ortega is right now is just the top of all charts. She is what Margot Robbie was 5 years ago.
absolutely. I think she's a wonderful actor.
I think she's probably a better actress than Margot Robbie is as well.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, no, I definitely think she's probably a better actress outright.
Hmm.
That's not taking anything away from Margot Robbie, but um,
Yeah. Well, I think she brings something new and something fresh, and I think she's quite collaborative. If you hear about how involved she is on the Wednesday sets and everything, um,
well,
in
I wouldn't
fact,
mind. Wednesday season 2 was only filmed like 5 minutes from my house.
oh wow,
Yeah, so yeah, well,
yeah,
some of it was only filmed like 5 minutes from my house.
I'm really excited to watch season 2 of Wednesday.
I am, yeah. I thought the last episode of Wednesday with that weird creature thing finally being revealed, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Hmm.
And I was like, that's the most Tim Burton thing you'll ever see ever.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you were ever going to get someone to direct an Adams Family show, they got the right person for it.
It's true. And I think, speaking of Tim Burton, just being able to step into his worlds on that Beetlejuice set was phenomenal, genuinely. Um, I'd love to talk about my process on how I actually got involved in the film here.
Oh, that's where that question was going. Then we got sidetracked to it,
Yeah.
but
So, um, I was actually I'd just been booked on this tour around the UK in this show as a dancer, and um, unfortunately, just due to some things happening, that didn't end up going ahead. And that tour was supposed to be from the March until the July. And then literally a couple weeks later, I was in the McDonald's drive-through. I literally remember. Um,
what did you order?
I have no idea, but probably what I usually get, which is sweet chili wrap, fries, and Fanta
Fair
with sweet
enough.
and sour sauce. Yeah. Um, and I remember my agent had messaged me because the next Wednesday, this was on a Friday, the next Wednesday I had an audition um at Welsh National Opera for a show that they were doing. And that audition was in Cardiff, and she was like, just hold off on that 1 second. I've just had this through. I just need to let you know. Um, and it literally said on this email, as simple as this, it was like, we are looking for some physical performers for an upcoming Warner Brothers film. We are holding a very closed audition and would love to invite Joseph at Pinewood. And I was like, okay.
I'm in.
I have no idea what this is. The only thing that was on there was Warner Brothers. The code name was on there, Blue Hawaii, and then Derek Arnold, because he was the one that had invited us.
I don't get the blue Hawaii thing.
So initially, there was rumors back in the day that the sequel was going to be called, I think something along the lines of Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
I
So it
think,
kind of it kind of was a tip that some people
yeah,
might have got.
I think that's where it comes from.
Oh,
Anyway, this is now the Monday. I show up to this audition, and there was maybe 10 of us there, and we all like really short guys. Because
right.
I'm only 5'4", and um, Derek's there as well. Who's worked on like all of the new Star Wars films, Jurassic Worlds, etc., etc. So in my head, I'm like, this could be anything. This could be anything. I'm in the workshops at Pinewood, and then they're creating these, you know, heads and stuff that we can see.
It's a prestigious place
Yeah.
in terms
So
of movies in the UK. So
we get sat down in a circle. In fact, as we go in, we all have to sign an NDA, and then we get sat down in a circle. And then he's like, okay, so this is for the upcoming Beetlejuice movie, and we're looking for 15 performers. And he was like, this is the only audition we're holding, and there was 10 of us. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Anyway, so we do
so
the audition, which is just some regular movement bits and bobs, and then we try on the costumes, the basic, like we try on a head and the shoulders and whatnot to see if it fits us. And it was like, great, thank you, and off we go. Next day I get an email, you've got the job. And I was like, whoa,
I
this
I'd have,
is,
I'd have been running bollock naked down the street going
yeah,
yes.
this is so, like, it was so crazy. And it was like, you have a costume fitting on the Friday, and everything from there just was like, just happened so quickly.
Like that's it. When a part's meant to be, it's meant to be. Like surely you would have more than 10 people come in.
But I think so. So in the UK, we have this for actors, we have this database called Spotlight, and that's where all of our CVs are. So I think what Derek did was go through Spotlight and basically hand selected 10 people based on their CVs and what their skills are, and etc. So he kind of knew that we were all going to be correct for the job when he
Nice.
brought us in. And then obviously the other 5 people, so all of us got the job. And then the other 5 people were people that have been working with them for years and years and years. You know, like the likes of Nick Callington and Paul Warren, etc. Nick Callington played Dipsy in the Teletubbies and all of that. Incredible
I
guy. And
fucking hate
he,
that show.
Nick Callington, was the guy that played Bob, and also Bob as Beetlejuice. Yeah, really great. Um, so then it was just costume fittings, um, makeup tests, and then we had like animatronic fittings and stuff like this. And yeah, literally within like 2 weeks we were on set.
So for that outfit, you're obviously in the suit,
Yeah,
and the head is obviously animatronic.
yeah.
So
So
your head is sitting somewhere under the shoulder level.
so the shoulders came up to the top of our heads,
Yeah,
and then the head sits on top of there.
nice.
Um, and then we're obviously then the amazing costume team led by Colleen Atwood made these amazing suits that just fit over all of it perfectly and just wonderful.
The yellow suit,
Yes, the yellow suits.
it's a tidy suit. That
Who knew that they were going to be so iconic? Like,
well, actually, I did, and I think if Beetlejuice one had have come out exactly the way it did in say 2004 onwards,
mhm.
Bob probably would have got his own movie.
Who knows? He might still.
No, but like that's what I mean. Like it's now been that long, but like look at the Minions.
Yeah,
Like they've got 5, 6 movies now.
it's
Do
true.
you know what I mean? Like there's certain characters in movies that you see and you're like, you're gonna get your own movie out of that.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And he was always one that I loved, even though you don't see much of him in the original one, bar a 2 minute spell at the end.
Yeah, well, this was the funny thing. So after the the audition, I had actually never seen Beetlejuice.
That's sacrilege right there.
Yeah, it's just something that hadn't come into my life. So that night I was like, great, I'm gonna watch it. And obviously at this point I knew what type of character we were gonna be. So I watched the film waiting to see this character. And I was waiting, it was like an hour and a half gone. I was like, where's this character? And then he appears right at the end. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
And he sits
understand.
there with the shaman on the other side.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
it's
and then
so
they just
random.
and then they just had 15 of us in the new film.
Yeah, it was like I thought yous actually were brilliant in the film. As I said, I wasn't huge on the film.
Yeah.
I thought the pieces that the shrinkers done were brilliant, and like it's not a spoiler now because it's out on Prime and stuff. But you know the scene when Monica Bellucci kills Bob, the whole cinema just kind of went.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god,
See, I didn't even know about that scene until I watched the movie.
oh did you know?
No, because we didn't have access to the whole script for obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, what you just wouldn't need really,
No, we
and
wouldn't need it. So
that's probably better for yous as well.
yeah, I mean, a lot of the time when we're on set, we can't see anything anyway. So
how
we're just doing what we're being told to do
how did you walk around
just by walking.
and hope for the best?
Yeah, pretty much. There's loads of people. We had the whole like fabrication team, the whole costume team, anyone from the creatures team. They'd be there literally guiding us to and from where we need to be. And
So
any
like
of this,
during the scenes, there's one scene when Monica Bellucci walks in, and everyone's running around, and there's like desks and stuff.
yeah. So
That's just hitting hope for the best.
yeah, we would basically, I think, oh yes, I know the scene you're on about. Um, we had two different types of shirts. So
Okay.
one of them had a tiny bit of mesh in them, and we used those for the scenes where there was a little bit more movement, i.e., the scene where we run out of the wall and the scene where we run down the stairs.
Okay, that
So
makes
we could see kind of what's going on. You still can't really see, but it's better than nothing at all. Because when we're sitting at our desks and stuff, we could not see anything at all, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes more sense as to having an opportunity to see rather than running fucking chest first into a table.
Oh, you are kind of still running aimlessly though, if I'm completely honest.
Ugh. Hazard pay. It's grand.
No, no.
You got to be in a movie with Michael Keaton, Jenna Ortega, and Katrina O'Hara, Monica
Yeah,
Bellucci, Danny DeVito. The list goes on.
it's wild to me that that this is my first film. I think that's kind of crazy to me. It's basically a dream come true.
Oh, absolutely. Like you're talking about some of the biggest names now and of the past, like Willem Dafoe. Do you know what I mean? Like the names in that movie were ridiculous.
Absolutely. And when you bump into these people on set, which occasionally would happen, to me, it's like everyone's just there to do their job. Um, and everybody's so lovely. And I do believe every single person on that set was so happy to be there because it was such an enjoyable, creative process.
Well, I'd say so. Yeah, the likes of those kind of movies, the wacky movies, I always found from talking to people that there seem to be the fun ones to make. Obviously, if you're making a serious piece or like a drama piece, it's a bit more down and level. Where
Yeah.
if you're making a movie about a wacky, zany fucking exorcist, bioexorcist,
I mean,
like,
all I know is that I had so much fun.
well, that's
Um,
that's all that matters for you, then, isn't it?
yeah, and it was great to have because as I said, there was 15 of us who played these shrinkers, and um, it was great. There was such a mix and variety of people. There was some of us who were so young. In fact, I think one of the guys was like 19. And then all the way up to these people who've been doing this for decades and decades. Um, and it was so nice to be able to learn from each other because there would obviously, like on any movie set, there's a lot of sitting around. So it was nice to have people that you could really build these connections with.
Yeah, that's always good. That, well, like that's how things happen in Hollywood and stuff, isn't it? It's who you know really when you get down to it.
Absolutely.
Or that person might not want the job, but they'll go, "Do you know somebody who can do this?" Oh yeah, I know this guy.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden you get a phone call, and then it spirals along for you. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think when you're on set, as long as you're doing a good job, you'll be fine and you're a nice person.
Absolutely. Well, that's the big one, though, isn't it? Like, no,
Hmm.
if you're a dickhead on set, no one's gonna want to work with you again. And
No, I don't
if
think
if
so.
so, if someone like Tim Burton turned around and goes, "Yeah, I wouldn't work with that guy. He's a fucking arsehole,"
Yeah, that
that's
wouldn't be good.
yeah, it's that's game over, really.
Hmm.
And like you hear that about certain Hollywood stars as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not a hidden fact that directors will call
No,
people out.
it's true. I just think it's so important to be kind at all times.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like manners doesn't really cost anything. You know what I mean?
But I can't stress enough how lovely everybody was on the set. So obviously we're in these suit costumes, and at times it can be a touch uncomfortable and whatnot. But there'd be people there like all the time, just checking you're okay, with like cups of water. They'd have like fans in between takes and stuff. Like there'd always be people checking up on you. And I think sometimes when you can't see anything as well, it can be a little bit disorientating. Um, so it's nice for people to just be there to make sure that you're okay.
But absolutely, being in the dark. Oh, well, I don't know if it was dark, but being basically blindfolded is horrible.
Yeah, and it's actually it's really interesting because when we are sitting at our desks in the boiler room, um, we are doing things at the desk, either on the typewriter or writing down notes or something, but we can't see anything. So what I would have done prior to a take is really map out where everything is on my desk, and especially when we had the telephones, because you'd have to hold the telephone to your character's ear,
Yeah.
but you don't really know where your character's ear is at all.
So you're going literally up here somewhere.
Yeah. Um, and I think sometimes you'd have a Derek maybe. So Derek was our animatronic coordinator, and he would basically like come around and like place our hands where they need to be. And once you've taken the phone off of the ear, I wouldn't even try and attempt to put it back near the ear because you're not gonna make it.
It's just not happening, pal.
No. And the wonderful thing is as well, we all had earpieces in, so Derek was able to talk to us throughout,
Oh,
so
nice.
we know what's going on. Otherwise, we can't really hear anything because with the animatronics in the head as well, it can be quite noisy at times. So it's quite noisy. You can't really see anything. So at least he's in your ear. And if you do have any problems, you can just like let somebody know.
I'm too warm. I want to go home.
To be honest, though, I was never really too hot. The costumes I've been in before have been a lot thicker because this was just a shirt in front of us.
It was
It wasn't
basically a
too,
suit.
yeah, it wasn't too bad. And obviously the heads are small, so they're not too heavy either. I think they're only about 6 inches tall, actually.
Is that all the hour, is it?
Yeah, really small.
Nice, nice. Did you get to meet Tim or any of the main cast?
So obviously Tim was on set at all times.
Yeah.
I
But
think
like,
I only
do you have a
and
conversation like?
I think I only bumped into him one time. He was coming onto the sound stage, so I just held the door open for him. Um, and he was like, "Thanks, whatever." Um, Obviously, when you're on the set, the first AD does a lot of the liaising with you. So Tim's directing all of the departments, and if us performers need to know anything, the first AD will come over and let us know. Um, and then Michael Keaton did come and have a little chat with us as well. I think
Nice.
everybody was just a little bit in awe of our characters, which is really lovely. Unfortunately, we would. I think this was our first shoot day, and we had been doing the scene where we run down the stairs, and we were waiting outside of the house in like a straight line, 10 of us, and I was like fully all the way on one side of this line. And I didn't know until like later that day, but apparently Jenna Ortega had been like, I want to go see the Shrinkers. So she'd come onto the soundstage when she wasn't working and she had a full conversation with the guy at the other end.
Oh,
So
dick.
I didn't even catch a catch a glimpse of her at all, but that's okay.
You might actually be towering over her at 5'4".
Oh yeah, I think she's probably maybe like 5'2", 5'1", something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. She's just become iconic though, hasn't she? She's like, 'cause I know a few people that were working on the set over here of Wednesday,
Yeah,
and they were like, she was there one day and she came in with coffee for people and everything. She just doesn't. She's just down to earth and just.
absolutely. Honestly, I think most people are really normal.
That's the right way to be though. Like superstardom can change people, and we've seen it quite a lot. But what it is, what it is. Like I had. I don't know if you've ever seen Studio 666.
No, I haven't. No.
It's the. Oh, I have to get the band right now. Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yes.
No, that doesn't sound right.
No.
Dave Grohl? You see the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
I have no idea.
Dave, well, whoever Dave Grohl's band is it? Hold on, I gotta check because I'll make a balls of this. Um, well, they made a horror movie out of his band. Oh, sorry, the Foo Fighters.
Yes. Okay.
So Dave's a big horror fan, and him and a couple others wrote a horror movie. And BJ McDonald, who was the director of it, was working on Beetlejuice in the States. Beetlejuice in the States.
Yes.
And he was saying he was walking by one day, he was telling me, and it's like Jenna stopped to come over to him because he cast her in that as one of her first horror roles.
Wow.
Uh, I was like, dick.
People don't forget people. They really don't.
Especially like I know she got an early casting when she was younger in Insidious 2 by James Wan,
Yeah.
but as an adult, I think that was her first horror role, and
That's
then
great.
she's
I
just
really, I know she's like one of the biggest in the world at the moment, but I think she could really become genuinely massive.
yeah. I thought she was happily typecast, and then I watched her in that Miller's Girl,
Hmm.
Again, wasn't a fan of the movie itself, but she was fantastic in it. Where it
Yeah,
wasn't a horror role, I was like, "Jeez,
I think she's a force to be reckoned with, if I'm completely honest.
girl can act."
Absolutely.
um, so have you anything else coming up?
No, I don't. At the moment, my 2025 is looking nice and clear, available for lots of things. I have just done Panto over Christmas,
Nice.
um, which is always so fun. If you all don't know, Panto is like a show in the UK, like a British tradition over here. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just
theater.
really fun theatre. Yeah, as I said, I've done a fair amount of theatre. But I hopefully I'm looking to move a little bit more into the screen world and see where that takes me. Which would be wonderful. Um, Obviously I've got puppetry experience and stuff as well, so more creature work on screen would be wonderful. Um, One franchise I'd love to be a part of is Star Wars. I know you're not a huge fan of the newer stuff, but Star Wars has always been a huge part of my life.
It's a fantastic franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think anything in that would just be unbelievable for me.
Well, just before we finish up, obviously you're big around the con world now as well at the minute,
Yeah.
which is great to hear. And I'd say that's great fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so lovely to be able to meet people who are as passionate about these films as I am. Um, I'm a huge lover of Beetlejuice. Um, I know obviously I'm in it, but the film means so much to me. So it's so nice to be able to meet people who also have huge connections to the film. My next convention at the moment is Horror Fest UK, which is in Leeds on April 6th. So I'm really excited to be at that one.
Yeah, Leeds. Yeah,
Yeah, Leeds.
yeah. Nah, that's a football joke.
Oh,
I'm a Man United fan, so we don't
I
like
see.
Leeds.
I don't really watch football.
Yeah, we don't like Leeds.
I understand, yes.
um, Horror Fest. It's one I've actually heard of. Obviously, being in Ireland, it's not I don't quite hear as many that go on, but
Yeah.
um, obviously we were talking off screen. I see Craig goes to all these ones, and that's where I'm picking up the names from, seeing people that I've had on the show, and they're like, "Oh, we're at this con and that con." I'm like, "Fuck's sake, we get no cons," and then we got one this year, which was great. I'm hoping to do it again next year
Why don't you set up the con?
because I'm broke,
Okay.
like
You could
broke,
you could pitch it and find some investors, maybe.
broke. It cost me money to even think of pitching the idea.
True, yeah, it
I wouldn't
would.
mind. I have quite an extensive group of indie horror stars in the states and stuff that, like, I'm sure probably could help. But I just,
Yeah, absolutely. You know people.
I know loads of people, but whether they think that'd work or not. But sure, look, that's for a different time.
Yeah,
Maybe if I win the lotto.
maybe.
Um, let me ask you a couple of horror questions then before we finish up.
Absolutely.
Give me your top five horror movies.
Okay. Now I'm not sure if this counts as a horror movie, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I just loved it this year. The Woman of the Hour, Woman of the Hour by Anna Kendrick. I don't know if you've seen that
Yeah.
yet. It's on Netflix. It's definitely more of like a psychological, um, incredible.
Woman
Love
of the
that.
Hour.
Yeah, Woman of the Hour. And then I also love The Platform. I don't know
Okay,
if you.
the second one of them has just came out
Yeah, I've watched
recently.
this one as well.
I haven't seen either of them. I've seen clips on Facebook,
Uh huh.
and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" This is the one where like the food gets lowered down, and the lower you
Yeah,
go.
I really enjoyed the first one. I thought, oh yeah, that was really good. I definitely like more of the sort of psychological things rather than the big jump scary films. Um,
I haven't seen either of those so far, which is unusual that someone gives me a list and I haven't seen them.
um, I quite enjoyed Pet Cemetery.
Don't say that remake, new one,
Yeah.
that
Um,
Bloodlines one.
yeah, I think so.
There was a remake, and then there's Bloodlines, and then
No, no, no. It was the first one. No, no. It was in cinemas like less than 10 years ago. I can't remember when it was,
No, no,
but I,
that's a remake.
I love animals, so anything with animals is in it is
Go
gonna
go
give
watch
me
the
go.
original one.
Yeah, no, it was not the original.
Yeah,
That's for
well,
sure.
the original was the 80s.
Oh yeah, no, 100% was definitely not that
But
for
the
sure.
one you're talking about is where it ends in the car and the daughter's coming back.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the
so
one.
that I will say when I watched that remake, the twist in that really threw me. So in the
Hmm.
original one, it's the little brother that gets killed,
Hmm.
but obviously in this one
Oh,
they kill the older kid. And I was like, oh, I was like, holy shit.
yeah, they've got to give something different if they're doing a remake, I guess.
And then the rest of it, I was just like, no.
Throw everyone else off.
I was like, this is dire.
And then I also really enjoyed, and not in a good way at all, actually, in a really bad way, I enjoyed it. Um, Girl in the Basement. Um, I really enjoy watching things that are based off of true events. So I'm a huge documentary lover. So I know that one is depicted in a bit of a odd way to the case that it's based off on.
Oh,
But I
you're a
thought,
true crime person, eh?
yeah, but I thought it was really, yeah, it really engaged me. And then I need one more. I would say Beetlejuice, but I know you're not going to let that count, are you?
You can say it if you want to say it.
Then I'm going to say Beetlejuice. I think it's wonderful. Whether it's actually horror, who knows? It's obviously more in the horror comedy genre. Um,
Yeah, what do they call it? They call it black horror or something, don't they? It's a comedy horror.
but you know what? I love it. And to be honest, whatever was coming out of, I think they call him Clive, don't they, in the film? You know, where he's been bitten by the shark. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Catherine O'Hara's husband.
No, it's not Clive. Charles.
Yeah, but I think in the credits he's called Clive
Oh yeah, well, that's
because
reasons that we won't get into.
um but uh where the blood is spurting out of the esophagus or whatever it is, that really made me squeal in the theater when I saw that.
I actually thought that was a strange move, having given everything that happened. I just thought they were going to write him out of the thing and just be like, "Yep." So I mean, it was something. The Soul Train was good.
Incredible. Brilliant dancers as well. Just great.
So out of those five, I've seen two, which is fairly unheard of for me. Usually, when someone gives me a list, I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen that, seen that, seen that."
Well, I don't find myself watching a lot of films that loads of people have watched, although I feel like a lot of people have watched Women of the Hour now.
So
Um,
I've seen pictures and I've seen stuff pop up on Facebook, but I never knew what movie it was because I seen that picture of Anna Kendrick in the dress with the spotlight around her.
yeah.
I was like, "What the hell is that?"
So I think what that movie's done differently, which is what made me really enjoy it. Firstly, it's based off of true events again. But secondly, it doesn't romanticize anything. We don't see anything that actually happens.
Right.
So it's all up to your interpretation. It doesn't we know what happens. We don't need to physically see it happening. And I think that's what makes this movie a masterpiece. And I really hope it goes up for some nominations and awards and stuff. Speaking of nominations and awards, Beetlejuice has been nominated at a bunch of festivals now. It's
Uh,
coming up at the BAFTAs as well. So I think we've been nominated for best special effects at the BAFTAs,
nice.
which is obviously part of the
Probably,
team I was with. So
probably well earned as well.
yeah, I mean it's up against some other wonderful films, like Wicked and whatnot.
So my missus, that's my missus. She's seen it twice in the cinema. She's like, "This is my new favorite movie." And
Wicked, it's really good.
obviously, at the time of this recording, the Golden Globes happened last night,
Yeah,
and it didn't win Best Musical
it
because
didn't. Was it Emily Perez?
no, oh yeah, sorry, that won Best Musical,
Yeah,
and then Demi Moore won Best Actor or Best Actress in uh, a musical or comedy film for The Substance. I
yeah,
was
and,
like, I
and
was
then also Zoe from Emily Perez won best supporting actress
Yeah,
over Ariana. So, but Wicked did win best. That
box
it
office.
won. I don't know what they call it. Something
It won the box office award.
box office hit, yeah, which was what Beetlejuice had been nominated for. Um, and I think being nominated for that category is a wonderful thing because it means you've done something quite special.
Yeah. So you said you like true crime
Yeah.
um, films. I have one for you.
Okay.
Right. It's called The Black Mass.
Okay.
It was made in 2023 uh,
Yeah.
by. It was directed by a girl called David Payne.
The Black Mask. Yes.
No, Mass, Mass.
Black Mass. Okay. Yes.
Right. Don't look it up on IMDb
I won't.
because it actually tells you for some reason as to what it is. It is
Hmm.
based on a true story. I'm just trying to find it. If I find it where it is, I will. I'll send it to you. But when people tell me that they like true crimes, because this movie, I sat there watching it, and I'm notorious for when I watch a horror film, and I'm always just going to root for the bad guy.
Oh, I'm the complete opposite.
Like I'd watch Nightmare on Elm Street, I watch Friday the
Yeah.
13th, and I'm always just sitting there going, "Yeah, just fuck them up. It's what I'm here for.
Right.
Don't care. just get it done." But with this one being a true story, and I found myself going, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't be rooting for the bad guy here because this actually happened to people."
Yes. Particularly in those ones.
Yeah, but this one was done so fucking well.
Yeah.
Um,
I think sometimes with these true crime style films and series, they really need to be done with respect and tastefully.
oh, this one was definitely done well.
Yeah.
um, because I couldn't be bothered listening to true crime. It's not my thing. My missus
Hmm.
fucking loves it, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure she's probably in there listening to one now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not for me. But like, I had no idea what this was. I just knew they were coming on the show, and she sent it to me to watch. And I sat there watching it. And I was glued to it. I was like, "Shit."
Okay. I'll definitely give it a watch then.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll see where I can find it for you and whatnot. But as for that, do you have anything else you want to promote, or other than Horrorfest in Leeds?
No, not at the moment. Just go follow my Instagram, uh, Joseph David Payne, which is my name, and you'll be able to keep up to date with anything that I'm doing, which is great.
Absolutely, and appreciate the time coming on today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
The chat was fun, and obviously, best of luck, and hopefully, Beetlejuice just picks up a few awards for you.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm really excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's done its round in the cinema now, so it's time
Absolutely.
to just pick up the awards and walk home now. I
Yeah.
suppose. Who knows? You might end up at the Oscars yet.
Me?
Beetlejuice him. Why not?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I, I I'm not sure what categories are at the Oscars, but
I don't
who
know.
knows?
I haven't watched an Oscars in years.
Really, I
I,
watched them
tur-
last year
I
for
turn it
sure.
on the next morning, see the highlights, and I'll be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, I tried to watch the Golden Globes last night, but I couldn't find
It
any
was
way to
it was
access
it was
it.
on Paramount.
Yeah, and then I decided I've already used my free trial, so I couldn't.
You just set up a new email.
It's true.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly, boy.
But I will watch the Oscars when they're on.
Wonder will we get another slap.
Hopefully not. I don't think that was super appropriate.
No, probably not. But either was the joke.
It's true. Yeah. Just keep it respectful at these award ceremonies.
No, I don't. I don't mind comedians making jokes.
But
But
that's different.
I mean, like if that joke had been about someone with cancer, would the slap been acceptable then? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Hair loss is a thing.
It is.
Huh? I had hair once.
I'm sure you did.
But that's a conversation for a different day. Joseph, it was an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank
Um,
you.
and we'd love to have you back on another time. We can just, instead of being sort of about one movie, we can pick off a few of your favorites and go from there if you're up for it.
Brilliant. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll line that up in the near future.
Great.
But folks, what we'll do is I'll finish this the way I finish every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.